All right. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining me today for the episode on why inflation means that it's time to buy. So, as the date that I wrote this first blog, and we're talking about it, inflation stood at about 5.4% for the 12 months ending in July 2021, according to the US Labor Department. Most recent numbers that I've seen, and I'm actually wrote the blog, but now recording this episode in January of 2022, it was closer to 7%. A little bit over 7%, according to the US Labor Department. So let's keep that in mind. Inflation is about 7%. Now, inflation is certainly a buzzword for our current culture, but what does it actually mean for you, the potential buyer, and how is it going to affect your buying power? First, let's just talk about this. What does inflation actually mean? Well, the easiest way to describe inflation is like this. If you had $100 last July, then today that $100 is actually only worth about $93 because there's 7% inflation. Again, I'm using updated numbers from when I wrote the last blog, but if there's 7% inflation, it means that if you had $100, you add in the 7% inflation, that means that $100 is actually worth $93. Essentially, the value of a dollar is being reduced. Each dollar is worth less than it was. It's not a good thing. Second, we got to look at what is the average appreciation of homes per year as we understand how does inflation affect your buying power. So according to Black Knight, which is a data and analytics company, the average home appreciates, or that's a fancy word of saying, or it grows in value 3.5 to 3.8% of value per year. That means if you buy a home for $300,000, then the next year it's worth between $310,000 and $311,000 and some change without you doing anything to the home. The market just grows the value of the home. So why does that matter to you, the potential home buyer? Well, whether you're looking to upgrade or buy your first home, it's important to understand how to best use and invest your hard-earned money. Many people today, as of writing the blog, again, I'm recording this video in January 2022, but wrote the blog September 2021, they talk about waiting until home values, quote, go back down before they buy. But let's be honest, that's probably not going to happen. And it certainly won't happen when we look at the average growth nationally, which again is 3.5 to 3.8% per year. So if you're waiting to say, let me wait until values go back down, that's probably not going to happen. They should continue to go up. Plus, as inflation continues, home interest rates will go up as well. Why? Because when a bank loans money, and it's used to making, for example, let's say $150 on every $100 they lend, inflation makes the money they receive back less valuable than it was originally, right? So as we talked about earlier, the $100 is now worth $93. So if they were used to making $150, but now that's only worth $140, they need to make more money. So to combat the loss, they're going to raise the interest rate, which otherwise known as the percentage return they expect on the money that they lend in order to stay as profitable. Banks aren't nonprofits. They very much exist to make money. So instead of needing, let's say, to get $150 for every 100 they lend, now maybe they need 160 or 170 for every 100 they lend because of inflation. And who pays that cost? You do, the consumer. So all waiting does is make it more expensive for you to pay back the bank because the bank is going to get their money. Now, let's take a much bigger picture view and just talk rationally here. The trends point towards continuing inflation and continuing home value growth. So that means if you wait, let's say 6 months or a year from now to buy a home, then the home you could buy today for $300,000 with a 3% interest rate now costs you $310,000 with a 4% interest rate. And guess what? That's a huge difference for you of almost $300 a month on the exact same house. So let me just ask you a question. Do you want to buy the same house next year but spend $300 more every month? Absolutely not. Of course, the answer is no, but there's a very real cost of waiting. And guess what? Because of inflation, your $300 more per month was worth $320 a year ago. So what happens if inflation doesn't continue and interest rates don't rise, right? So that's the alternative. It's possible that inflation will stop and interest rates won't go up. Now, that's very unlikely, but what if they don't? Let's just play the other card of this. That same house will still cost you $50 more per month due to the appreciation of the home. Now, what happens if inflation pushes interest rates up, but home values don't go up? Well, guess what? That same house now costs you $130 more per month because your interest rate just went up. So the bottom line is this: you really are playing Russian roulette, rolling the dice, or betting against the odds, if that's not enough gambling terms for you, if you're waiting for prices to not go up and interest rates to not go up. If I was a betting man, I would say the likelihood of that is maybe a 1 in 50 chance. And I don't know about you, but when it comes to my money, I'm not going to take that risk. The reality is, the sooner you can buy a home. Now, it's got to make sense for your family, but the sooner you can buy a home, do it, because it's going to cost you more money tomorrow. I hope that's helpful. Refer to the blog for some more numbers and terms, and we will gladly guide you through it as a team as well. If you need help, reach out to us, www.maroongroupva.com. Thanks so much for listening.